Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Chris from LinkinsLegion.com, and I am bringing you 75,000+ easy gamer score. Just so you guys know, the stipulation for this is the game should not go over 10 hours to complete, except for a couple of exceptions, such as Telltale games, which are story driven, so they do take a fair amount of time, but they are non-missable achievements or negligible at that, so they get to stay on the list. I checked trueachievements.com for any games that were removed from the Microsoft Store, and I did actually take off about 5 games from this list that are no longer purchasable digitally or at all. Now remember, whenever I give the time and price for a game off my little scribbled list, the time is more equal to what it took me to complete, and however long it took me, you should not be taking any longer than it took me to complete the game, because I complete games at a terrible pace. So wherever I completed it at is what you should be guessing you'll complete it at. If anything, you'll do it faster. And then the price that I found is whatever price was available on trueachievements.com, save for any sales or games that go free or for Game Pass in the future, so keep that in mind. First game on the list is 6180 The Moon. It's a little puzzle game that takes about 2.5 hours and costs $4. Next we have ACA Neo Geo Fatal Fury 2. It's costing about $8 and will take you about 1 hour. Albert and Otto is another kind of limbo style puzzle game, side-scrolling kind of game that I honestly hated. Took about $12 and 2.5 hours to complete. Next we have Another World 20th Anniversary Edition. This game will take you about 2.5 hours and cost $8. Assemblance is a game that will take you 1 hour and costs about $8. Next we have the 2 Batman Telltale games, the Telltale series and The Enemy Within. Both of these will take you about 12 or 13 hours, and each one costs $15. Next we have Beyond Eyes, which is a game that costs $15 and will take you about 1.5 hours to complete. Next we have Blackwood Crossing, which will take you about 2.5 hours and cost around $16. Okay, next we have Costume Quest 2, which will cost you about $15 and will take you one of the highest at 10 hours to complete. It took me about 10 hours and 4 minutes, so it's not going to be that difficult. As long as you follow guides for any of these kind of games, nothing should take you any longer than whatever time I tell you. And if you want to learn more about what type of game it is, or exactly if the game has collectibles and such, I highly recommend that you search along with me as I talk about the game and go over it briefly, and check trueachievements.com to see exactly the genre and the average completion time and the average achievement fall off. Next we have Crypt of the Serpent King. This game, I will note, will require you to play through it about 3 times, once for each difficulty, because they do not stack, but the game doesn't take long. Even with 3 playthroughs, it only took me about 7 hours to get every achievement, which is just playing through the game 3 times, and that'll cost you $2. Next we have Cubot, The Complexity of Simplicity. This game will take you about half an hour to complete with a guide and cost you about $2. Next we have Dear Esther Landmark Edition. This is a walking simulator type game that should take you about 4 hours to complete and cost about $10 with collectibles and stuff. Next we have Don't Knock Twice, a terrible horror game that'll take you about 1.5 hours to complete and cost $12. Next we have Dream Break. This game will take about 2 hours to complete and cost $10. Now we have Dying Reborn, another terrible horror game that'll take you about 1 hour to complete, but it costs $20. So look for a sale on this one. Now we have Echoes of the Fae, The Fox's Trail, Episode 1. I don't think it's ever going to get an Episode 2 because this game was awful. Well, it will take you about 2 hours and $8. Ikimu Splinters of the Dark Shard is a game that I did a playthrough of, which I highly recommend you check out on linkinslegion.com. Even though the game itself is terrible and known to be pretty buggy, I got bugged out on one of my last achievements, but I eventually got it. It's just the game is poorly optimized and just bad, but it'll take you about 4 hours to complete, even with mine glitching out on me, and it costs $5. Energy Cycle, the infamous Energy Cycle. I completed this game in 49 minutes, and it cost $3 with a guide, of course. Now we have The Fall. This game will take 3 hours to complete, but it cost $10. Next we have one of my more recent playthrough games we did on my channel, which is Firewatch. This game will take 5 hours to complete. It costs $20. Next we have Fractured Minds. This game is a nice cute little horror indie game that costs $2 and will take you 1 hour to complete. Next we have Fragments of Him, a game that will take you 3 hours to complete and cost $10. Next we have Full Blast. This is a shoot 'em up style game. It'll take you 1 hour to complete and cost you 6 whole US American dollars. Now of course I want to take a note real fast and mention that this is all without tax, so if you're in a state or region that charges tax on all this stuff, then obviously your price will be a little bit inflated, but for me, in New Hampshire, we don't have tax on these games, so this is all base price. Haunted Halloween 1986 will take you half an hour to complete with a guide and cost $10. Inksplosion will take you a whole entire single hour to complete. I can attest for that because I streamed this game, and will cost you $5. Jack and Jill DX is a game that will cost you $5 whole and will take you 1 whole hour to complete. Next we have A King's Tale. Final Fantasy 15 is what that is, and this game is actually free, so a whopping $0, but it will take you about 7 hours to complete with 1 semi-difficult achievement, but it's easily, if I could do it again, then you could do it. Now we have Corgan, a game that is also free and will take you 2.5 hours to complete. The Long Reach is a game that costs $15 whole, which is absurd for an indie game, and will take you 2 hours to complete. Now we have Metagal, a game that will take you an entire 1 hour to complete and cost $5 whole, enough equal to a 20-ounce Red Bull. Next we have Monopoly Plus on the Xbox 360, which is also, if it's on this list, it's backwards compatible, and that will cost you $10 whole and will take you 2 hours to complete. Identically, Monopoly Plus for the Xbox One, the exact same game, just between platforms, it will again cost $15 and take you 2 hours. Mr. Pumpkin Adventure will take you 1.5 hours with a guide and cost $6 whole. My Big Sister is a cute little horror indie game that I rather enjoyed, which will take you about 2 hours to complete and only cost $6. Next we have Narcosis, which is another game that I did a playthrough on, and this game will cost you $20, the price of a pizza and some sodas, and will take you about 5 hours to complete. Next we have Never Alone, plus the DLC that comes with it will cost you about $18 and will take you roughly 5 hours to complete. Next we have North, that itself will take 1 whole hour to complete with a guide and cost you $5. I also did a stream of this game. Next we have One Leaves, a very terrible anti-smoking ad game that costs you a whopping $0, which is already too much for this game, and will take you about 3 hours to complete, though let it be known this game is glitchy. Next we have Nut Jitsu, a terrible Pac-Man clone that will take you 3.5 hours to complete and cost way too much money at $7. Next we have Actual Pac-Man 256, and this game will cost you $5, but it'll take 3.5 hours with an exploit that you have to use where you delete your local save and recover from the cloud save to farm points or an item or something like that. The last achievement you need to get is one where you have to do an exploit follow guide on true achievements if you want it. Paladin is a game that costs $10 and will take 1 hour to complete. Paradox Soul is a game that costs about 5 whole entire single dollars and will take you 1 whole entire single hour to complete. The Park also is a terrible horror walkthrough game that will take 1 hour to suffer through, at the high cost of $13. Pix Arc is one of those unique style games where in actuality it costs a lot of money, but what you can do for this game to get all 1000 Gamerscore is download the free trial, which will give you a couple of hours to get all the achievements, and the achievements can be unlocked with console commands. All you have to do for that is obviously, find the exploit online where you can, it's not an exploit, but go into this section of the game where you can enter console commands, and you can basically follow a guide online and start spawning in everything to get you every achievement, and it should take you less than 1 hour to get every single achievement. Otherwise, if you want to play the game, it'll take you 200 hours and probably cost like $60 for the full thing. But if you download the trial, give yourself about 3 hours with the game, take 1 hour to follow a guide, and enter in console commands, you can get every achievement without ever having to do any of that. Now we have Numa Breath of Life. This game is $20. Crazy expensive, but the game is extremely pretty, and it'll take you about 2.5 hours to complete the puzzles. Refunct is a jumping square game that'll take you 2 hours to play through as long as you can get the hang of it, which the game is honestly not that hard, and it's still $3 from your wallet. Rememoried, it costs you $15 for an hour to complete. Rise of Insanity is another kind of really bad horror game that in 2 whole hours and $10 whole you can get all the achievements in. Roblox is a game that you're gonna have to download for free, and will take you 3 hours of consecutive playtime. However, you have to get an achievement that costs you However, you have to get an achievement in the game which will require you to log in every day for 20 or so days. It's either 20 or 30 days you have to log in consecutively to get the achievement, which has known to be a little bit buggy, so if anything, it's going to take you a few more days than that. Scrabble! Very fun game. 2 hours to complete, $15. 60-second shooter Prime costs $5 for this abysmal piece of garbage and would take you 3 hours to complete, or at least it took me 3 hours to complete because of one achievement, which isn't really that hard, I just sucked at the game. Slender the Arrival on the Xbox One is a game that costs $10 and will take you 5.5 hours to complete. Just so you know, this game does have a couple of speedrun achievements where you need to beat the game in under 45 minutes, but once you play through, it doesn't take that long to play through the game. I was able to get every achievement in 5.5 hours, so it's really not as hard as it seems once you understand how the game works. Then you also have Slender the Arrival on the 360, which to note only has 400 Gamerscore, but it takes the same 5.5 hours and $10 to get the achievements. Sonic the Fighters is a $5 game that's usually on sale for $2 or $3 and will take you less than 1 hour to complete. Spiral Splatter is a $5 game and will take you 3 hours. Storm Boy, one of my recent completions, will take you 1 hour with a guide and it costs $6. Oh shit. Super Destronaut DX is a Galaga ripoff garbage fire of a game, which is $5 too expensive, and it takes 1 whole hour of your time and just leaves you sad. 3/4 Home Extended is a game where you can skip most of the dialogue, choose a couple of specific dialogue choices, and will take 4 hours of your life and $10 from your wallet. Thomas Was Alone is a really cute little puzzle game that has to do with squares and rectangles and other shapes. It'll take you about 5.5 hours to complete and cost $11. The Town of Light is a very not safe for work psychological horror game. But that game costs $15 and will take you about 5.5 hours to complete. Unmechanical Extended Edition is a game that costs $10 for 3 hours of your life, rewarding you with 1,000 Gamerscore. Now, each one of the Walking Dead games will take you about $15 each and 12 hours each to complete, roughly. Now we have A Way Out, in which case this game is a little bit specific, and you can actually complete the game if your friend has already played it. You can join his save file, have him bring you to specific missions, and just get the achievements at those mission checkpoints. Otherwise, you're going to be playing through the game yourself, and then you have to play through 10 or so hours of the game to get through all those points and unlock the missions yourself at the cost of $20. Whispering Willows is a game that costs $10 and should take you about an hour to 2 hours to complete. A Winter's Daydream is the easiest game in the history of anything ever. It should take you about 30 minutes to an hour. You only have to press A, you don't have to care about anything in the world, and it costs $6. Next we have Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons. This game is a whole whopping $20, except I know for a fact that this is on Game Pass currently, and it will take you about 2 hours to complete. The Gardens Between is another game that's on Game Pass, so you should be able to get it for free. Otherwise, it costs you $20 and will take you 2 hours to complete. Max the Curse of Brotherhood is a 10-hour or so completion at the cost of $20, but again, is on Game Pass. Tacoma is another game on Game Pass. Pretty much everything. Tacoma and the Turing Test are both on Game Pass. Tacoma will take you about 2 hours. The Turing Test will take you about 5, and they're both on Game Pass, so disregard the price. That is the end of the list, everybody. Now, to get to the totals. If you want to earn 75,000 Gamerscore, it will cost you, if you bought every single game on this list at the price that I found it at, disregarding games with gold, free download games, and Game Pass, it will cost you $650 to $700 for 76 games on this list. That's a lot of money. But for a lot of these games that are either free, go on sale frequently, or are on Game Pass, on EA Access, or anything else like that, you could easily shave off $150 from that price. So roughly anywhere between $500 and $700 is what it would cost for you to get every single game on this list if you checked for sales and if you checked for free games and such. I know for a fact a bunch of these are free, and I know for a fact a lot of these go on sale consistently, so you just have to pay attention for that. And then also, when it comes to not only money invested, if you hear that clicking, I'm sorry, that's my pen. For money invested at $500 to $700 for 76,000 Gamerscore roughly, it will also take about 2 to 250 hours of your time. That is roughly 8 to 10 days of commitment in playing these games. Now again, keep in mind, you can bust out a lot of these games in one day's sitting if you wanted to. All the games that take 30 minutes to an hour, you could jump ahead 15,000 Gamerscore in like 10 hours, no problem. And that is also to note on the low end of time, because this is all based off my time to complete the games, and I usually either take a little bit longer or just on the higher end of stuff. So that's it, guys. 75,000 plus easy Gamerscore for $500 to $700 and 200 to 250 hours of your time. That's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed, leave a like. If you liked, subscribe. And if you want to see more, check out linkinslegion.com. I will see you in the next video. Later.